global liquidity once again firing off a major signal here for Bitcoin, which has been very, very historically relevant, let's say. And I want to be following up also on the short term for Bitcoin, as well as a couple of setups and maybe some corollary markets. Let's just talk about traditional markets. I think that is it's a good day for that as well. Anyways, first things first, I wanted to acknowledge that the 5-day time frame did indeed fire off another entry for a long here on the global liquidity index strategy. If you're wondering what this strategy is, it's a very simple strategy looking at the global liquidity index, which is a conglomeration of these major money supplies, the US, Europe, China, Japan, and even the other countries as well, versus a blue simple moving average, which you can see on the chart right here. And the strategy is very, very simple. Whenever the global liquidity represented by the yellow line crosses the upside of that moving average, that has initiated an entry, and when it crosses below, that initiates a closure. And the idea here is that global liquidity is strongly correlated to essentially Bitcoin's price, and well, I mean most assets really, as that does seem to really drive things for sure, and so more liquidity being available, just, easier money essentially in the market means markets go up because, well, I mean, I would imagine that's kind of been driving inflation. And if inflation goes up, then asset prices also by nature should be going up as well. So in this case, we can see that the 5-day time frame has indeed fired off a signal right here. The yellow global liquidity line index has obviously reclaimed that blue moving average. And so the game begins. Now, this strategy has had a pretty high win rate here throughout the full history of Bitcoin, although it does not happen that often, to be fair. It has only happened 24 times on the 5-day time frame, and 75% of the time it has produced a positive trade. Now, we can go into the trade analysis right here and look at the average winning trade and also average losing trade for that matter, and come up with some areas of interest, I suppose, if this one does work out versus if it doesn't work out. Obviously, if it does work out, it is suggesting a absolutely massive fucking move here, over 1,500%. I personally think that is very likely due to the early years of Bitcoin where, moves were just astronomical by the nature of being a very, low market cap asset. So if I go into the deep backtesting feature right here, using the skeleton key, by the way, which is in the Quant Prime service that we have available. And we can just look at the dates between 2014 and current date. And of that time, about 10 years, a little over 10 years, there's been 17 total setups with this, with this in mind, and a little over 70% of them have been profitable. Now, if we go into the trade analysis here, we can see that the average winning trade still, wait, where is it? There it is. Average winning trade still very high, still very fucking high. I should acknowledge that, but it is significantly lower than what we just saw for the full history. This one closer to 134%. On average return for those winning trades, and for the average losing trade, losing about 12.75%. That actually was quite similar to the full history for the losing side. So, if it does play out to the downside, meaning that this does fail, then 13 or so percent would put Bitcoin where? That'd put Bitcoin at $85,000. So, if that happens, I would just have to say bears are right, and things are done for a very long time. But by the same token, from here, obviously 130% move from 97,800, which is where this one opened, would be like, I mean, that's in the $200,000 territory. Again, these are averages. There's going to be some variance around there, around these, obviously. But shit. I mean, if Bitcoin even went up 50% from here, I mean, that's a huge number. That's basically $50,000. So I'll just show you a few of these iterations over the past few years here as well, just so you can see how they have operated. We'll obviously continue to update on this channel as this setup does get new data. In fact, we'll be getting a new one tomorrow as the 5-day time frame is closing today. I mean, shit, it's possible that it could close here. I mean, if we do see it cross back down below that moving average, doesn't look like it right now, but that would be the condition. And that would be a good place for me to say, hey, if you find this content valuable, or if you just want to be updated on that and you don't even care about my stupid fucking voice, consider like subscribing, and you can even get that for free in your inbox each and every day. Anyways, yeah, several examples here over the past few years. All of the big trades started with this, and when it did have a losing trade, it was over. It was over and done with like pretty quickly. Also getting the last macro low, getting pretty much this whole macro move for 2020 to 2022. And so on and so forth. You get the idea. So it kind of gives the green light for the bigger moves to occur. We did see one recently, which was a very small move. I mean, respectively, this one only producing about, what was it? Yeah, 9%, almost 9%. So, quite underwhelming compared to the average. But yeah, this one again is active. So we'll continue to update on it. It still essentially makes me, I guess, more biased towards the bullish side, long term. Short term, however, very little has changed, at least for myself. We'll get into that a little bit later. Short term, I still think that Bitcoin can correct a little bit lower first before anything else. But we should also talk about traditional markets. I do think that you kind of have to look at these still in conjunction. Yes, they don't trade exactly 100% positively correlated, fucking obviously, but a healthy traditional market, especially the NASDAQ, which represents techs, you're not going to see a Bitcoin rally without NASDAQ being up, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And even if NASDAQ is up, doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin is going to be up itself as well. It's more likely to be. And looking at the monthly right here, I mean, it looks like yet another reconnect with that red 5 exponential moving average and back up, already trading above last month's high. If this thing can even especially trade above December's high, then I mean, this rally is going to continue and continue more, probably into end of year. I mean, shit, even if it just closed above last month's high, then that'd probably be good enough for me as well. But for right now, things looking good for continuation as traditional markets strengthen. Of course, we can go look at Coinbase as well. Coinbase still in a similar area that we've been looking at. Whoops, let me actually get over to... I'll save Coinbase for tomorrow for the Q&A, because I know a lot of people ask about that. So we'll get to that then. But NASDAQ, yeah, still overall good. So, the green light is still there, is what I'm trying to say, especially when you consider that this signal is fired off over here. So the conditions are ready in the background. They're ready in the background. Now, in the short term, like I said, nothing's really changed for me here, based off of this setup, that being the red 5 exponential moving average crossing to the downside of that yellow moving average, which is the 21 exponential. Every time in the past 5 years, 6 years that we've seen this cross happen, Bitcoin has at minimum come down to the green moving average, which is a 55 exponential moving average, and that condition is still not met. I got many questions about this, by the way, on the comments yesterday, saying, Crown, didn't it already test it right here? It did. However, that was prior to the cross happening. So, that the condition is not fulfilled just yet. I still think, as long as Bitcoin is not above, let's call it like 102 and a half, whatever, depending upon how aggressive you want to get there. I still think that, there is a good, high probability of Bitcoin, playing out a downside move somewhere around that moving average. Right now, it is currently at 92,789, and then popping back up. If it is going to be bullish, obviously that's what you would expect, and that can probably all happen in one or 2 days with a wick down there and then closing still above like $95,000. It's just absolutely critical that it continues to remain above about $94,000 because on a closing basis, that is, because as long as Bitcoin's closing above 94, you still got higher lows, and that's what we want to see. Anyways, yes, so we've got that. Let's go. Should we go over here? Yeah. And I'll just basically, not only if Bitcoin is, below 102, would I still say that correction is available, but especially as long as the 2-day time frame stochastic momentum also is positioned to the downside, which we just got a new closure, last night. And that one is going to, hey, God damn it, Elsa unplugged my plug, okay? It's because you're trying to sabotage me as usual. So yeah, you think it's funny because you're sick in the head, and Jesus Christ, like, it's Valentine's Day. Have some fucking respect, okay? It's over. Anyways, where was I? Yes, as long as it's positioned to the downside, I still think that move is. I mean, it's more likely than not. It's not my thoughts about it. It quite literally is more likely than not, because when we go ahead and test it over here, we can see that indeed this setup works out almost 71.5% of the time. I mean, even this setup, I would argue probably works out more than that. I think it's just kind of due to the limitations of programming this one algorithmically, but fair enough. Anyways, yes, we've got that. Let's go ahead and update on the quantum wave bands. Last week I showed you all sorts of good trades with this one. It did have a really good end of month and beginning of February. You can see these really quick trades, which is what this one is designed for. Getting in and out, scalping relatively quickly. I should acknowledge, of course, with full transparency, that over the past week it has struggled a little bit here, or it hasn't taken huge losses, but it certainly has struggled with a couple of I would say small losses there. So just a quick update on that, and then also the meta signal setup. I wanted to update on this. First I should acknowledge it has exceeded its first target, which is a very high probability, like close to 70%. The second target is above 100,000 bucks. I do think that is less likely, and probabilistically speaking, I believe that target 2 is like somewhere around 50%. And if I was trading this, I would close this it was a profitable trade. It opened at 95,500. Like, that's good. Take the money when it's in your hand, because again, those other setups do still suggest there is a pretty good chance that Bitcoin corrects lower first. But hey, it's not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee. Despite what internet comments say, there is no guarantees in trading. There's only probabilities, and that's all that we can do. And all that we will do for today, actually, as well. And I think that's a good place, maybe leaving off. Oh, I should let you know, you can find the quantum wave bands obviously on Teachable, but you can find the meta signals here. You can actually get these setups for free if you join the link in the description below. Obviously, they have their own service as well, but it's good to try it out first, obviously. So yeah, that's available there. And I'll be signing off on that note. As always, I want to wish everyone the best of the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Saturday for some good old Q&A.